The homecoming of Jack Harlan in the summer of 1946. As the dust of World War II settled across Europe, Sergeant Jack Harlan stepped off the train in Chicago, his duffel bag slung over one shoulder and a Purple Heart pinned to his chest. The war had taken its toll 2 years in the Pacific Theater, dodging bullets on Guadalcanal and Iwo Jima, but he'd survived. Back home, America was booming, factories humming, suburbs sprouting, and the GI Bill promising a fresh start. But for Jack, that start came with a heavy price. Between medical bills from a shrapnel wound, a hasty loan for a used Ford to get around, and helping his widowed mother with the family farm's debts, he owed a fortune in those days, equivalent to years of wages for a factory worker. Jack felt the weight crushing him as he sat at the kitchen table in his mother's modest bungalow on the outskirts of the city. "How am I going to dig out of this hole, Ma?" he muttered, staring at the stack of bills. That's when he remembered his grandfather, Elias Harlan, a shrewd Wall Street financier who passed away just before Pearl Harbor. Grandpa Elias had been a self-made man, rising from the ashes of the Great Depression, and he drilled financial wisdom into Jack during boyhood summers. "Money's like a battlefield, son," he'd say. "You need rules to win." Elias had drawn his principles from the classics of financial thinking, books he'd devoured and shared like sacred texts. Jack pulled out the old leather-bound notebook where he'd jotted down Grandpa's advice, inspired by those timeless reads. It was time to put them to work. First, Grandpa had always preached the ancient parable from the richest man in Babylon: pay yourself first, no matter how tight things got. Set aside at least 10% of every paycheck before touching the rest. Jack landed a job at a steel mill, earning $50 a week. Gritting his teeth, he opened a savings account at the local bank and automated his deposits 5 straight off the top each payday. It hurt at first, like skipping meals in the trenches, but soon that nest egg grew, giving him a buffer against emergencies and the confidence to tackle his debts without panic. As savings trickled in, Jack turned to another rule from Grandpa's favorite: The Millionaire Next Door, live below your means. The book profiled everyday Americans who'd built wealth by avoiding flashy spending. Jack saw his buddies blowing their GI benefits on new Cadillacs and ritzy diners, but he stuck to basics: a second-hand suit for interviews, home-cooked meals instead of eating out, and biking to work when gas prices spiked. Why chase the Joneses when they're broke too? Grandpa had quipped. By trimming extras, Jack freed up $10 a week, channeling it straight to his creditors and watching his debt shrink faster than expected. Debt was the enemy, and Grandpa had a battle plan for that. From the total money makeover, the debt snowball method. List your debts smallest to largest, ignore interest rates, and attack the tiniest one first for quick wins that build momentum. Jack's smallest debt was a $200 loan from a buddy for tools. He paid it off in 2 months, then rolled that payment into the next $500 medical bill. The victory snowballed. It's like taking out enemy positions one by one, Jack thought, echoing his wartime strategy. Within a year, he'd cleared 4 small debts, fueling his drive to conquer the bigger ones, but paying off debt wasn't enough. Grandpa insisted on building wealth through assets. A core lesson from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. "Don't work for money, make money work for you," Elias had said, explaining the difference between assets, things that put money in your pocket, and liabilities, things that take it out. Jack used his growing savings to invest modestly in dividend-paying stocks from blue-chip companies like General Electric, recommended by a veterans group. He avoided get-rich-quick schemes, focusing on assets that generated passive income. Those quarterly dividends started covering his coffee runs, then more. Turning his money into a silent ally, tracking it all required discipline. So Jack adopted a habit: from your money or your life, calculate your real hourly wage and track every expense. Subtract work-related costs like commuting and taxes from your pay, then divide by hours worked including overtime and prep time. Jack realized his mill job netted him just $2.5 an hour after everything. That eye-opener made him ruthless about spending. He logged every penny in a ledger, questioning if a purchase was worth hours of his life. Time is your true currency, Grandpa had noted. This mindfulness slashed wasteful habits, like impulse buys at the corner store, and accelerated his debt payoff, finally, to keep the momentum. Grandpa's rule from "I will teach you to be rich" was key: automate your finances. Set up systems so savings, investments, and bill payments happen without thinking. Jack arranged direct deposits for his paycheck, 10 to savings, 20% to debt, the rest to living expenses. He even automated small investments into a mutual fund through his bank's new post-war programs. Let the machines do the heavy lifting, Elias had advised, foreseeing the automated era. This hands-off approach prevented slip-ups and let Jack focus on advancing at work, earning a promotion to foreman. By 1950, just 4 years later, Jack was debt-free. His $10,000 burden had vanished, replaced by a modest portfolio and a down payment on a cozy ranch house in the suburbs. He married his high school sweetheart, started a family, and even mentored fellow vets at the local VFW hall, sharing Grandpa's rules. America was in its golden age, the Korean War loomed, but Jack's financial fortress held strong. Looking back, he knew those principles weren't just stories from books. They were lifelines for anyone facing the post-war grind. In a land of opportunity, mastering money meant true freedom.